When did Star Trek stop being about where we are going as a species and start being about what are we fighting over on social media? Between the 51% audience score for Starfleet Academy and the performative mess of Picard Season 2, the Solo Federation is, well, it's currently MIA. And the reason why might actually surprise you.
I do not understand why humans find your rambling to be content.
Alright, let's get into it. Today we're talking about the soul of the Federation. Or, I don't know what's left of it. This whole season was actually inspired by a video over at Techie Pulse. Adam did a deep dive into whether politics ruined Star Trek. I'll link that video below, but honestly, it got me thinking. I gotta say, he makes some great points in this video, but there are things that I genuinely do disagree on. And one of the more important ones is that I think there's a distinction we're missing. A big one. It's easy to just say Trek was always political and end the conversation there, but that kind of feels like a shortcut. It just misses the nuance of how those stories were told, and more importantly, why they resonated with people across the entire political spectrum for like 50 years.
It is statistically significant that ideological fragility correlates with a decrease in media literacy. If the audience cannot tolerate a divergent hypothesis, the data stream becomes a closed loop.
Exactly. See? Even the bucket of bolts get it. Look, I get it. Everyone says Star Trek has always been political. And sure, as far as I can see, that's true. But there's a massive difference between being political and having, what's the word? It's not just principles. It's more like shared ethos. A set of values we all have regardless of what party we genuinely vote for. Roddenberry's Trek, the stuff we actually liked, it was rooted in that universal ethos. It gave us this kind of a utopia. No hunger, no money, no crime. And then it used that as a mirror. It kind of zoomed out, and that's the key. It used aliens and allegories to talk about us. It was a smart way of writing about current themes by stepping away from them. And I think the most important part is it was not about who are you voting for in, I don't know, let's say 2028. It was about what kind of species do we want to be in 2350. But now, let's be real. The Kurtzman era, they say it's about emotional authenticity. No, it's not. It's just the corporate speak. To me, it kind of feels like we're just chasing hashtags. Whatever is trending on Twitter or social media this week, that is what gets a Sledgehammer script next year, which is weird. It's myopic, it's small.
The current data stream suggests that social media trends have a half-life of 48 hours. Star Trek should last centuries. Chasing a transient consensus is a logical failure in legacy management.
Exactly. And that brings me to our disaster of the, I don't know, month, week, year, century, Starfleet Academy. Look at the audience score. It's sitting at 55. Am I surprised? No, not even a little bit. This is a show genuinely nobody wanted. We do not need 2 or 3 seasons of YA drama. We do not need a CW in space. Look, I've said it before. If it was a 2-parter in some kind of a different show, sure. Show us the cadets trying to maybe measure up to the greats that came before them and the pressure that kind of brings on them. That's fine. But the entire season? or God forbid, 2 or 3, you're just going to turn it into, I don't know, relationship drama and angst. And that leads me to this weird phasers over philosophy thing. Philosophy is Star Trek. I heard someone saying that they just want ship battles and phasers in their Star Trek. I'm like, but if I wanted pew pew and a simple good versus evil without the whole thinking parts, I'll go and watch Star Wars. And yes, it does have thinking parts. I'm sorry, guys. I love Star Wars. But I hate trying to make Star Trek into something that it's not.
Star Wars is a space fantasy. Logic is optional there. It is not optional here. Philosophy is a foundational requirement for Federation membership. It is the core of the internal compass you mentioned.
Right, but here's the problem. We often confuse politics with these personal values. We all have a set of principles we live by. Now, if you're a normal human being, the way we classify ourselves left or right is just where most of those values align with the current era. I've never met a leftist or a conservative who stands by like 100% of their party's platform 100% of the time. Politics is the art of convincing people to vote for policies. Values are something deeper, and that is where modern Trek fails. They're preaching empty political talking points, not exploring values. If you want to show a mirror to society, you have to understand that the audience is not a bunch of idiots. The biggest problem is, even if I agree with your message, and you spend 40 minutes telling me, insert whatever you think is bad, I'm going to roll my eyes and feel offended because apparently you think I'm an idiot who needs to be told that. And if someone doesn't agree, they just feel attacked. So you lose the people who agree and you alienate the people who don't. So who is this for? Let me tell you who is it for. It's just virtue signaling. I hate to use this word, but it's really woke in the sense that you do not actually have something to say, but you feel like you have to keep babbling on just for sake of babbling. Now, here's a good example about that. Let's talk about that bus scene in Picard Season 2. God, that scene was... It was a chef's kiss of idiocy. So we have Seven and Raffi trying to find Captain Rios, or Captain Handsome as I call him. He's on an ice bus full of people about to be deported, and the camera moves in, and what do we see? It's just dudes. You know, young men in prime. Please don't get me wrong, have nothing against the dudes, but here's the misunderstanding part. I'm looking at this, I know what their intention was. So their intention was to show us how immigration enforcement is really bad, or they wanted to show us the tragedy. The camera should have shown families, and to be more precise, if you wanted to have that emotional impact, it would just show mothers with tiny, teeny little babies. The stuff that actually can break your heart and make you think. But no, we got all dudes, and then Raffi and Seven just released them. Why? Because one of them told Rios, trust me bro, I'm a nice dude, that's it.
Releasing unidentified individuals into a population center without vetting based on a verbal assurance is statistically illogical and poses a significant security risk to the local timeline.
It's a pure stupidity. It's kind of a college stupidity. So we have these two women that are not going to be staying in the 21st century. They will not have to live with the consequences of just opening the doors and releasing, 20 dudes they know literally nothing about. They make a mess and then they just go back to their own timeline. Honestly, when I was watching this the first time, because I'm not an American citizen and the whole ICE thing really doesn't affect me in any way, I thought to myself, you guys actually need to hire more ICE agents if you have crazy ladies like this just releasing everybody without knowing who they are. And look, I'm saying this as an old school liberal. I believe in the humanitarian mission. I really do. But that is not accomplishing with just opening doors to anyone. It would be great if it worked that way. And maybe in the 25th century, in the Federation, it actually does. That's why I love Star Trek. But it doesn't work in 2024. This is not how you win hearts and minds. It's just performative nonsense that makes the people you're trying to help look kind of like a vague security threat, and the people helping them look like they have lost their freaking minds. You're not helping the cause when you write stuff like this. All Trek would have shown both sides. They would have shown also the victims who may have suffered at the hands of the illegal immigrants too. Because there are victims. There are people who do not have the privilege of a time machine to escape the mess. If we actually started understanding where people are coming from, and I mean that genuinely understanding when they're coming from, why there is a pushback, maybe we could find some common ground. But modern Trek doesn't want a conversation, it just wants to feel morally superior. Science fiction as a whole is a wonderful genre that allows us to put a mirror to ourselves. But that's been lost. That wonder of exploration, not just the strange new worlds and funny-looking aliens, but the wonder of figuring things out about yourself, getting inspired. That is what is missing. I still have not met one character in this new era of Trek that that I would aspire to be when I was younger. Not one. We don't need constant preaching. We need someone to try and take a look at the story and then put the mirror up. We need to start understanding when people are coming from again. Anyway, I ranted a long time. That's where I'm at. You know, Adam mentioned that he's gonna lose some subscribers because of it. I hope he doesn't. This is kind of a conversation I want to have. He really handled it well. So please go and check him out. And hey, if you disagree with me, let's talk about it. If you just want to yell and scream and I don't know how to talk to you, I'm sorry. We do need these conversations to survive not only as a fandom, but as a freaking species. So, what do you think? Am I being too old grumpy Trekkie here? Or are you kind of feeling the same vacuum? Anyways, until the next one, M5, full impulse, and engage.
Support the organic creator, like, share and subscribe.